England has not had a world heavyweight crown in nearly a decade. 3 years ago, a transplanted native returned home, and Londoners are now primed for that elusive champion. Lennox Lewis is the emerging superstar, yet some in the UK accuse him of mixed loyalties.
I left England when I was 12 years old and went to Canada to live with my mother because she sent for me, and that's where I started my amateur career.
The 6'5" giant was an immediate smash as an amateur, winning almost every tournament. Competing under the flag of the Great White North, the Olympic Games converted the Cockney Canadian into a serious contender. In 1984, Lewis impressively punched his way to the quarterfinals before being stopped by eventual gold medalist Tyrell Biggs. The Games in Seoul brought him gold and hungry promoters chasing him for his signature. The London-born Canadian effortlessly powered his way past promising American Riddick Bowe. The Olympic prize was the last of his growing amateur awards and a jumpstart to his growing collection of titles as a pro.
Yeah, I moved back to England to turn pro and to win the belt for England because I realized that England didn't really have any upcoming boxers, any upcoming champions.
Lewis has been unbeatable as a pro, exploding into the public eye with 15 wins, 13 by knockout. Last fall, the super heavyweight challenged Jean Genet for the European crown. The 25-year-old Brit jabbed the belt from the Frenchman, stunning the continent. An even bigger test came when he faced Gary Mason. He's the British champ, undefeated in 35 fights with 32 KOs. Lewis launched a powerhouse assault, forcing a stoppage in round 7.
He's taking too much and he's badly hurt. And it's call off.
The young hitting machine is boxing king of Europe and Britain. Closing in on the top 10 contender ranks, he's on the verge of becoming the biggest money-making athlete in the UK. But this developing star is unsatisfied with just 2 belts and Olympic gold.
Still a couple belts out there that have eluded me, and that's the Commonwealth belt and the Canadian belt. I would definitely like to win those 2 belts before going on to go after the world belt.
Tonight, the man with a mission goes toe-to-toe with ex-world champ Mike Hercules Weaver. His sledgehammer punch is like nothing Lewis has faced.
Anybody that steps in the ring and weighs over 200 pounds is dangerous. The only thing I lack is experience, and that's what I'm hoping to gain with this fight. I'm just not pleased with myself yet. I don't think I'll ever be pleased with myself or my performance in the ring until I have that heavyweight belt, world heavyweight belt around me.
The double heavyweight hero believes in destiny and is on course for higher honors. It's time for the heavyweights. Lennox Lewis stepping into the ring against Mike Hercules.
As if they had any right to make fun of an accent, the Canadians. But yeah, they did. And as a matter of fact, the principal told him, he said, hey, look, you got to stop fighting in school. Get into football, something, boxing, and he did get into boxing, as a matter of fact.
12 of his 15 fights have taken place in England, 2 in Canada, just 1 in the United States in Atlantic City. So this is the second time. And he told us it's important to him to become known in America, to make his mark. He says you have to make it here.
Well, he's got to, definitely, especially if he wants to get into the big money. The people that are going to fill up the arenas and the seats are going to be the Americans, because that's where the big major league fights are.
His spotless record of 15-0 with 13 knockouts. The number of fights he's won or been in. That's the number of fights that Weaver's lost.
Exactly.
Hey, you guys, give room in this corner, okay?
And let's take a look at Gooson's corner. For the veteran, 19 years in the business, Mike Weaver.
Boy, it's amazing still how great Mike Weaver looks physically. But what he's got to do is he's got to start fast with Lennox Lewis. Maybe catch him by surprise with some of those big left hooks he's got. And then he's got to stay inside on Lennox Lewis. He cannot let him dictate with that great jab and right hand of his. He's got to crowd him at all times. And then rough up the young kid. Let's see how he reacts by getting roughed up and pushed around by a veteran. Let's see what happens.
Mike Weaver began his professional career when Lennox Lewis was 7 years old. Lewis remembers watching the Larry Holmes fight when Weaver gave Holmes a good fight for the title but lost in '79. Weaver is the former WBA heavyweight champion. He beat John Tate in 1980, lost to Dokes in '82, a first-round knockout. Fought twice more for the title against Holmes and Pinklin Thomas, losing those fights. And he says Lennox Lewis is just another fighter. His record, 35, 15, and 1, but he does have those 25 knockouts.
You know, when we went in and saw Mike Weaver today, it looked like he had a cold. We walked into his room. It was hot. He had all sorts of liniment over him. He was sniffling. Let's see if that might affect him tonight.
And our fascinating tale of the tape this evening, Weaver 15 years older, 3.5 inches shorter, 10 pounds lighter, and Lewis with the reach advantage.
Well, let's go to the CompuBox stats here. Average punches per round, 50 thrown by Lewis, 45 by Weaver. Almost comparable there. 21 landed by each, 42% compared to 47% for Weaver. So pretty equal there. The jabs per round by the CompuBox stats. Lewis versus Mason, his last fight, 32, 12 landed with 38%. Weaver versus Thomas, which was 5 years ago, 31 thrown, 14 landed, 45% connect.
In our Nevada State rules, this is a 10-round fight, the 10-point must system, no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You can be saved by the bell only in that 10th round, and only the referee can stop the fight. And now for the pre-fight introductions. Let's go up to the ring, and Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 judges assigned to ringside will remain the same for this bout. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Caesars Tahoe, we move to the heavyweight division. This bout scheduled for 10 rounds. The referee is Vic Draculage. Introducing first, in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with gold letters and weighing an even 225 pounds, he's from East London, England. This 1988 Olympic gold medal champion in the super heavyweight division is undefeated as a professional with a record of 15-0, 13 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, Lennox Lewis. And across the ring in the red corner, weighing in at an even 215 pounds, wearing the solid white trunks from Upland, California. His professional record, 35, 15-1, 25 of his 35 victories by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Weaver.
And look at Weaver's body. Have you ever seen a grandfather look like that?
And he is a
All right,
grandfather.
gentlemen, you received your
40 years old. What a
Do you have
build
any
on this
questions?
guy.
Any questions for the chief seconds? All right, remember, obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves now, let's get to it.
If you want to look for a punch from Weaver, look for that left hook.
That's it.
That's the one. It's a good one, and Lewis knows all about it.
Took out John Tate. Took out Carl the Truth Williams. Does want to box. He wants to keep him on the end of his punches here. See if he can do
Weaver
it.
said he doesn't want to box him. He's just too big for that. Oh, good right hand from Lewis. Lewis has Weaver up against the ropes. It connects with an uppercut.
The only punch that really landed solidly was that right hand, and Weaver went right into a shell and blocked everything else.
Punch out, let's go, punch out of there.
There was a warning in there from Vic Draculage
Come on in.
about holding on and punching at the same time. Already this fight has lasted longer than the Breland affair. Another uppercut from Lewis. Lewis measuring with one hand. See him with the left hand and trying to open up. And he gets another warning from Draculage.
Well, so much for all those muscles. Lennox Lewis really just threw Mike Weaver back with ease into the corner.
And a right hand as the round ends, and a strong one for Lennox Lewis.
Mike, you took this boy's best shot, man. You got to get your punches off, all right? Use your double jab to get in the inside. And then get off. If you're looking for opening, you got to make an opening. You hear me? All right, you got to make an opening. These boys, referees looking at you and everything, man. Don't look for opening. Make an opening. Double jab when you get in the inside, move your hands.
All right. Here's early in the round.
There's
Bingo.
that right hand from Lewis.
Right hand landed by Lewis right on the temple of Weaver and stunned him. But Weaver had enough sense to go into a shell. Here's another look. Lennox landed that jab, and bingo, the right hand landed flush right on the temple. But Weaver did go into a good shell and block the rest of the punches from Lennox Lewis.
There's
Later on in the
measuring.
round,
There's what Lewis got the warning for.
Right,
and then
exactly.
he connected with the right.
over the top, and he's pulling his hands down, which is not illegal. Holding behind the head and doing that would be.
They're saying that Weaver landed 5 punches. And and was outpunched 25-5. I didn't see the 5 that Weaver landed in that first round.
Well, he did land a few weak jabs and some body shots, so you got to give him credit for that. He did land a few short shots on the inside. And when they first came out, Lewis and Weaver banged heads.
Lewis connected with a combination again and connects with the jab. This is all Lennox Lewis here in the early going of the second round. Weaver trying hard and struggling to land body blows.
Punch out, come on. Let him go.
Well, Terry Claiborne really read Weaver the riot act in the corner. He told him he better start punching, you know, because he knows that's his only chance. Pressure and punching.
Does connect with a left to the body, and Lewis rams a jab right in there, and another left. Lewis connecting with that jab at will here.
Well, Weaver's really not offering much head movement coming in either. He's standing straight up in front of Lennox Lewis with that great reach. He's going to be picking him apart with these long shots from the outside.
Low connect by Weaver, and he does draw the warning.
See right there, Lennox Lewis should have followed up with that right hand right to the body. Bingo.
The right after he measured him with the left. Another big right hand from Lennox Lewis.
Come on, punch out of there, punch out of there. Let go of the head.
Another right hand from Lewis. Lewis fight is 3.3 rounds.
Well, you know, when Lennox Lewis is punching, Weaver goes into a defensive mode. I think he should really put the pressure on, like John Davenport, his trainer, said, and keep the punches flowing. They might stop this fight if Weaver doesn't defend himself.
Weaver has shown the ability to take the punch and come back. You're right, he needs to be a little bit more active.
Yeah, certainly does. And what I also think Lennox Lewis should do is drop, after that jab right hand, drop to the body, try to sneak in a little lever shot, bring his hands down a little bit, because he's keeping his hands up real tight, looking for all those shots to the head.
And Weaver had some success there with the jab. And now Lewis does the same to him.
You know, Lennox Lewis, he's getting a little brave because he's really been hitting Weaver from the outside a lot. He keeps his hands a little bit low from the outside. But you'll notice the closer he moves, the higher he brings those hands up. But I'm sure Weaver spots that himself. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
As we move inside the final 30 seconds of the third round. And the uppercut, the short uppercut. Another warning, holding with the left hand and hitting the uppercut with the right.
Exactly.
It's the third time he's warned them.
It'll probably be the last time.
Go to the head, go to the head.
And that'll do it for an uneventful third round.
Last time for you too.
He's got to get more active.
You know, the longer this fight goes, especially in the 7,000-foot altitude, this could be increasingly hard for Mike Weaver to sustain these late rounds.
We're at the Caesars Outdoor Arena. Heavyweights, the European heavyweight champ, Lennox Lewis, and the former WBA heavyweight champ a long time ago, Mike Weaver. That's been all Lewis thus far. Midway through the fourth round now.
Lennox Lewis getting a little marked up around that left eye there. The eyelid and underneath. See, if anything, I think Weaver should be trying to drop some right hands over that jab. Try to time it and come over that jab because he brings it right back to his waist. Lennox Lewis does.
Weaver again content to jab away.
Okay, break it clean. Let's go, break it clean. Let's go.
Good news for Weaver is he has survived nearly 4 rounds. Bad news is he's going to be behind by 4 rounds.
But besides that good right hand that he took in the first round, he really hasn't taken any clean, hard shots since then. And you got to kind of fault Lennox Lewis for not really turning on the afterburners here. He should really be throwing some combinations and working Mike Weaver over.
Weaver just not using that right hand at all, Joe.
No. He's being very tentative. He's staying on the outside, and he's not doing what he told us he was going to do, and that's maul Lennox Lewis.
Well, maybe he had all good intentions in that first round shot. There's a good right hand from Lewis. Maybe it took it out of him.
Well, a good punch like that can make you fight a more cautious fight.
There's a right hand, a rare one, thrown by Weaver in the final seconds of the fourth round. Another round that will go into Lewis's corner. Just more of the same. But that jab certainly sounds crisp from Lewis.
Here's an interesting stat in the last
Weaver
round.
with a couple of body blows, maybe a little low on one of them, and Lewis comes right back at it.
And that's why Weaver's tentative about coming in, because when he does open up, Lennox Lewis is catching him, and maybe the fight has kind of left Mike Weaver. I don't know. Maybe this may be the end of the road for him, because he's certainly not really being as aggressive as I've seen him in past years. But the stat I was going to give you, out of the 72 punches thrown in the last round, only 10 of them weren't jabs. So the majority of the punches thrown in that last round were all jabs.
Weaver has not fought in a year. And I think that ring rust and age may be showing here, although you thought it was a bit of playing possum earlier in the fight. Crowd getting a little bit restless here as they see more of the same now as we approach the latter stages of the fifth round.
It's amazing to really see much redness.
Strong right to the body from Lewis.
Or wonder how Lennox Lewis could have so much marking over his left eye, but he is. He's swollen very much. He hasn't really been getting hit on that side much, but he is. He's getting very puffy on his left side.
Why would Lewis be so tentative to throw combinations? I would think he'd come off that jab and really do some damage.
Well, I think he might want to render Weaver a little bit more helpless. Maybe let him run out a little. This is a 10-round fight. Let him run out a little bit more steam. Wait until his hands come down a little bit more, and then go in for the kill. He said he wanted to be cautious and box smartly, and he is doing that. But he's got to give the fans a little bit more, I think.
Caution does not spell entertainment in the fans' minds, as we're now inside 30 seconds to go in the fifth round.
Go ahead.
But, you know, Mike Weaver really isn't giving him a whole heck of a lot of reason to be cautious.
Right, so go get him, Lennox.
Right, exactly. That's what the corner should be telling him. We get a closer look here. That left eye of Lennox Lewis is definitely closing.
Here we go, round 6, a scheduled 10-rounder.
Well, Terry Claiborne told Mike Weaver to use that right hand to the body a little bit more and see if...
there's a right hand. Yeah. Well, there's a rare one from Weaver, connected to the head of Lewis.
See if he could bring his hands down a little bit, but...
Lewis showing that puffiness under the left eye, and maybe Weaver trying to go after it. Good right hand from Lewis.
Watch it push.
Weaver's left eye is a little bit swollen on the brow itself too, but it doesn't look like it's really closing or anything. It just looks a little swollen.
Let go.
Well, he's trying to do what Terry Claiborne, Mike's trying to do what Terry Claiborne told him to do, and go with that right hand to the body and then switch up and go over the top every so often. See if it can pay off for him.
Oh, and Weaver's down. The right hand from Lennox Lewis.
5, 6, 7.
And Weaver's not going to make it.
9, 10.
A stunning 6th-round knockout. The right hand from Lennox Lewis. And that is it.
He lulled him asleep. Lulled him to sleep, and bingo, came out of nowhere with that great right hand right up the jab. And that landed flush.
At a minute 5 of the 6th round, Lennox Lewis ups his record to 16-0 with 14 knockouts.
And I hope this is it for Mike Weaver, seriously, Glenn.
He's helped to a stool. He was hit hard in the first round. Strong round for Lewis, and then it became a battle of jabs as Weaver's being checked over. Now Weaver seems okay. And we'll have some replays for you of a terrific right hand from Lennox Lewis.
There's Weaver, bang, right over Weaver's real slow jab. It really was. His head was poking up right on top of that jab, and Lennox Lewis came over the top. Here it is again. Weaver pulling out of a clinch here. Drops his left hand, bang, right on the chin. That was a beautiful right hand.
Really a beautiful one-punch knockout.
Well, his patience paid off for him, you know?
Stay right there, stay right there.
Yeah, and a big right hand to end that fight, Lennox. It took you a while to finally land that. You landed one in the first round. You took your time a lot in this fight. Was that your plan?
That was my plan because I realized of his age and everything. I wanted to go a little distance before I looked for to pick it up a bit. And when my coach said to pick it up, that was the round to pick it up in.
Right. I know earlier you had told me that you wanted to be patient. You didn't want to make any mistakes and get caught with a stupid punch. Now, I know that the fans kind of got on you a little bit. Did that bother you at all?
No, it didn't, because I realized he's old and he's cagey. And sometimes it looked like he was hurting. He was falling against the ropes, but I never got suckered into that. I took my time until he exposed himself, and then he exposed himself, and I ended it. Right.
So you've seen him before in his past fights. You saw him play possum before. And right, he snuck off the ropes with that big left hook. You didn't want that to happen to you, obviously.
No, definitely not, because I knew he was going to want to do that because of, limited skills. I call that my Riddick Bowe punch.
That's right. That'll live in infamy after the gold medal event there. Where do you go from here, Lennox? I know you yourself think you've got a little bit more. You need a little bit more experience. Where do you want to do? Where do you want to go from here? And where are you going to get that experience?
Well, I just need a couple more fights. I'm going to go over to England in September and box Glenn McCrory. Then hopefully come back over to the States and box a top-ranked American to gain that experience. Because, like I said, I'm still learning, and I want to gain that experience before the big one.
When you do come back to the States, who would you like to meet? What American fighter would you like to meet?
We don't really know. It's up to the promoter. It's up to my team. I'd like to thank my team, Courtney Shan, Harold Knight, and John Davenport.
They did a wonderful job. Yeah. So now you're going to take a little time off here? You're heading back to England? What's your plans?
Well, I'm going to take a little time off and rest and come back and just straight back into the gym and just practice, review the tapes, and just keep practicing because practice makes perfect.
All right. When would you like to eventually, and I know that if you keep on winning, it's going to happen, when would you eventually like, and when do you think it's going to come about you meeting maybe a Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson?
Well, I say, that'll come when it's due. I say within about 12, 15 months. As long as I keep practicing, keep on learning, keep on fighting.
Well, if you ever become heavyweight champion, and I'm sure you might one day, you're going to represent the boxing world very well. You're a likable young man and a gentleman, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right.